Hello, and welcome to Fake News. I'm your host for the episode, Isabel. With me today, I have two very special guests. First is Laxmi Narayan Tripathi, a transgender rights activist and Hindi film actor and dancer. Also with us is Joshua Muyiwa, a blogger and poet. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yes, thank you.
So today, we're talking about communities within communities, microcosms of larger cultures and peoples placed somewhere new. These are often a chance for marginalized peoples to gather and become the majority in their space, even if they are the minority in the nation. Do you have experience with communities like this?
I do. Growing up half black in India, I was drawn to a local club that hosted a hip-hop night every Thursday. Immersing myself in black culture seemed to be the only way I could feel connected to the Nigerian part of myself, and feel like I wasn't an outsider.
Yes, Hijras are also outsiders in India. The Arabic root of the word hijra really means the person who leaves his or her own tribe in search for his or her true self. The one thing that binds our community thicker than blood is the pain we suffered through our childhoods.
So, would you say that the Hijra community has its own culture within larger culture?
Yes, all races, ethnicities, cultures, and nationalities are welcome among the Hijra. One thing we have in common is leaving communities that exclude us and finding inclusion only amongst ourselves.
That reminds me of the short story by Shani Mutu out on Main Street. Have you read that?
I have. The narrator is Indian, correct?
Yes.
And she has an uncommon gender presentation, like me.
Yes, and she is rejected by the other Indians in the shop because they can see that she is queer. She's accepted by the other queer women.
That says a lot about how people's own communities may reject them, but they can find inclusion in other groups.
Lakshmi, it sounds like you found inclusion among the Hijra people after being excluded by mainstream Indian culture. And Joshua, you felt excluded among your Indian family and peers and found some inclusion in black culture. In both of those situations, you were included for the very reasons you were excluded before.
Yes, I was excluded from society for being Hijra, and then included by Hijras for being Hijra.
And I was excluded in India for being half black, and then included in hip-hop groups and by African peers for being black.
Then would you say you have to be excluded in order to be included?
Honestly, I don't know. As a queer, black Indian man, I found exclusion everywhere I go. Indians see me as black and queer, black people see me as Indian and queer, and I see a lot of racism in the queer community.
So is it like you're in a liminal space where you're an outsider to every group?
It's sad, but yes.
I have found acceptance from the Hijra community.
But you're fully Indian. Most Indians, even Hijra, see me as black and not Indian. And so they see me as different.
So having intersecting marginalized identities, like being biracial and queer, can lead to being excluded everywhere.
Exactly.
But having small groups within larger groups can help. If you were to gather a group of half Nigerian, half Indian, queer people, you would be included, and I would be excluded for not being half Nigerian. You cannot have inclusion without having exclusion.
That's an interesting point. We're just about out of time now. I wanted to thank you both again for being on the show with me and sharing your experiences and thoughts.
Thank you for having me.
It was my pleasure.
That was Laxmi Narayan Tripathi and Joshua Muyiwa, and I'm Isabel, and this is Fake News.